So before we start this review, apologies for any banging you hear. There is, once again, construction in my building, and if I wait for it to stop, well, I'll never get this review done. I want to talk about the NAD D3020 V2. This little guy, it is a 30-watt hi-fi amplifier and is one of the best looking amps I've ever seen. I mean, the design is virtually identical to the D3020, the original. It can be laid flat or on top. It's got a great volume knob. It's got this kind of curvy bit going on here. It's ideal for putting just on the desk right next to your computer tower or your laptop. It is a beautifully made little amplifier. It doesn't display now, but I'll show you in a cutaway. It's got a fantastic digital display right here. It's got touch control around the back. You've got a range of inputs and outputs. You've got speaker outputs, obviously. You have an optical input. You've got a coax input. You have a phono input, which is great if you have a turntable. So there's a ton to recommend this. And that includes the sound. Like the design, virtually identical to the original D3020. This is one of the best amps the company has ever produced. The sound is really, really smooth, really natural, quite delicate, really good emphasis on detail, and I thought provided a really good sense of what was going on in the music. There's also the benefit that it's $100 cheaper than the original D3020, which is fantastic to hear, because a lot of times companies will very obviously release updated version of products that are more expensive. NAD have gone in the other direction. That being said, this is not a perfect amplifier. There are a couple of issues here, occasionally very irksome issues. The first is the speaker binding posts. They do not take banana plugs, and the reason they don't take banana plugs, which if you don't know are a much easier way of connecting speakers than just using traditional speaker wire, is because the power jack is in the wrong position right next to them, and God, I don't know if you're able to see this, but the holes where you input the speaker wire, they are facing sideways, which means you are not going to be able to get banana plugs in there. That's annoying. Speaker wire sucks. Why have they done this? In fact, the back end in general just feels cramped. It feels like there's too much. And the one thing that it does lose from the original D3020 is a USB input. Now this has aptX Bluetooth, which means by definition, there's a digital to analog converter in here. So quite why we no longer have the option to connect directly to a computer via USB, I don't know. Especially since there's a USB service port at the back here. Very, very, very strange. Also, the touch controls on top. Now it does come with the remote, which you will use 90% of the time, but there are also a couple of touch controls on the top here, a source selector and the power button, and they just don't work properly. You have to stab at them for ages to get them to actually pay attention to you. It's annoying, and it was a problem with the first one as well, and it's something they just didn't fix. I do recommend this amp. At $100 cheaper than the original, I'm willing to put up with the annoyances here, but you just have to be aware of them going in. This is an extremely cool amplifier. I love, love, love the fact that it is cheaper than the original. And if you have speakers that only require about 30 watts of power, this is absolutely the amp you should go for, the NAD D3020 V2. Check out full thoughts, as always, in the link in the description below, and please subscribe because I'm putting up a new video every single week these days.